Hello there, folks. Welcome to the Chaikin Minute. I'm David Shulin. In today's video, we're going to discuss the power gauge rating. What is it? Where does it come from? The power gauge rating is the primary rating, the primary information here in Chaikin Analytics. Do we use it alone by itself? No, of course not. There's a reason the other information on the chart is here. We've spoken in these videos about some of the items on the checklist. We use the checklist as our guide for making determinations on what we're going to do with a stock. But it all begins with the power gauge rating. The power gauge rating is a 4-category 20-factor model that combines both fundamentals and technicals. It takes a weight of the evidence approach, understanding what items, what factors stocks need to be more likely to outperform or underperform the broader market. This is all about a comparison. It is about outperformance or underperformance. It's about alpha, right? We are looking for stocks that will outperform the market. In other words, when the market is doing well, when we're in a bull market, they will do even better. Outperformance. And when the market is bad, it's a bear market where something significant happens with a correction, etc., that they are more likely to outperform. They might still be down, those stocks, right? But they would be down less. Outperformance. This is how most large money managers are graded. It is not about whether or not their portfolios go up or down as much as it is whether or not they outperform or not, right? They beat their benchmarks. Our benchmark is generally the S&P 500. We want to outperform the S&P 500. So how do we do that? Well, with a weight of the evidence approach. Chaikin Analytics is all about a weight of the evidence approach. That's what the checklist itself is for, but it begins with the power gauge rating. Again, 4 different categories. You can see them right here. These 4 categories are financials, earnings, technicals, and experts. They are not weighted the same. Each and every factor and category has a different weighting that is proprietary, but they are all combined together to create the forward-thinking power gauge rating. In future videos, we'll take a deep dive into the individual factors under each of these 4 categories. But really quick, 4 categories, 5 factors under each, right? Here are the 5 that make up the financials. We can see the power gauge rankings for each of these 4 categories right here for Anthem as an example. We can see that financials, technicals, and experts are all rated as very bullish, and earnings is rated as neutral. There are 5 steps to what we see here, very much like what the power gauge rating itself is, right? Very bearish, bearish, neutral, bullish, and very bullish. If we were to jump down to some of these bearish rankings, we can see some, right? GIS here, very bearish. Technicals, very bearish. Earnings and experts, bearish. Financials, neutral. When we put it all together, we get a very bearish rating. This is a comparison, right? Each of the individual factors are calculated, and then stocks are compared to each other. So let me give you an example. Long-term debt to equity, the first item under financials. We will check the long-term debt to equity for every stock in Chaikin Analytics, some 4,000 or so. We will then compare the long-term debt to equity calculation to the other stocks. For stocks in the Russell 3000, we compare almost everything to the entire Russell 3000. Some of these individual calculations are compared only within the industry group, when different industries are more likely to have wildly different calculations. But the majority of them, Russell 3000 stocks compared to other Russell 3000 stocks. Stocks outside the Russell 3000 are compared to all rated stocks, including ADRs, micro caps, etc. Long-term debt to equity here for Anthem is listed as neutral, right? We see it right in the middle in the yellow. That means when we take the long-term debt to equity and then we rank all the stocks in the Russell 3000, the long-term debt to equity calculation is coming in somewhere in the middle grouping for Anthem. In a comparison to other Russell 3000 stocks, it's not good or bad. It just kind of is, right? On the other hand, price to sales is very good. Price to sales is looking great compared to other Russell 3000 stocks. So remember, it's not high number, low number specifically. It is in comparison. Once we've done the comparison, each of the individual factors is then weighted, and we get the combined financials, earnings, technicals, experts scores. Everything weighted, the categories, etc. And we combine them together, and then we rank the stocks again, right? So in the case of Anthem, with 3 very bullish, 1 neutral, still a very bullish stock. Still a very bullish stock, more likely to outperform. RMD here. Financials are bearish. Earnings are neutral. Technicals and experts are bullish. When we compare that to other stocks, still more likely to outperform. We can probably see why RMD is bullish and why Anthem is very bullish, right? Of course, neutral stocks likely to fall somewhere in the middle, right? Somewhere in the middle with bearish on the other side. Your bears are more likely to underperform, more likely to underperform. This is a weight of the evidence approach because the power gauge rating is looking at 20 individual calculations on a daily basis. Every day after the market closes, we run these calculations. Every day we rank all the stocks versus each other, weight it, and create the power gauge rating. They can update on a daily basis. They don't typically update on a daily basis. Most stocks maintain a power gauge rating for a period of time, but they most certainly can change on a daily basis. Absolutely possible. When you hover your mouse over the bar here at the bottom, you can see what the daily power gauge rating is. Hasn't changed a lot. We can see here going from light red to dark red. That means PFGC went from bearish to very bearish. But hasn't been a lot of changes. Changed from neutral to bearish back here and has stayed bearish ever since, right? But it can update on a daily basis. Absolutely. By taking a weight of the evidence approach, we can skew the odds in our favor. We don't have a crystal ball, right? There's not 100% anything for sure. Of course not. But by looking at multiple data points, skewing the odds in our favor, we give ourselves a leg up, a higher probability of success. One great way to think about bullish or very bullish stocks is not that every single one of them is going to outperform. They're not. As a group, they are more likely to outperform. That group in back testing has outperformed, right? But there are some better performers and some that still underperform. That's why we have the checklist and the other data on the chart. Sometimes the market doesn't agree with the model. We want to make sure that the market does. Relative strength versus the SPY, money flow, et cetera, et cetera. But if we focus on bullish and very bullish stocks, what we've done is give ourselves a higher quality of stock to choose from, right? That group is more likely to outperform. Everyone won't, but most will. So by picking from stocks in those groups, we've skewed the odds in our favor, right? If you're drawing out of a hat, right? If you put 5 blue balls in a hat and 1 red ball in a hat, the probability of you pulling one of those blue ones out is higher than if it was 3 red and 2 blue, right? That's it. Odds, skewing the odds in your favor. That's what the power gauge rating helps you do. More likely to outperform when combined with the information, of course, on the checklist. It skews the odds even further in your favor. When you take the top-down approach to investing and look in the strongest parts of the market, it skews the odds even further in your favor. That's really what the Chaikin analytics process is all about. Weight of the evidence, skewing the odds in your favor. With strong risk management and the data available to you here, your odds are far, far higher for success. In future videos, we'll take a dive into the specifics of the financials, the earnings, the technicals, the experts, what those calculations are about. We hope you've enjoyed today's Chaikin Minute, and we'll see you again tomorrow.